Professor Kiara Sambasivarao, who has wonderfully uh, set a place for us in this webinar. With his active encouragement and support, we are able to conduct this kind of webinar, which is very rare, in fact. And this morning, uh, we have with us very well-known personality, Dr. Panikanta Misra, who is a former uh, regional director, Archaeological Survey of India, and currently is director, Heritage Center, Mukaun, Kolkata. And uh, I will request our uh, honorable Vice Chancellor to uh, give us some speak before we start our webinar. I think he'll have something to say on the webinar, after which we will go on with our program. Sir, good morning, sir. Yeah.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Professor Sinhaji, Panikanta Sinhaji. It was a wonderful time that you have joined with us, and you are going to speak on our culture of prehistoric culture of northeastern India, and your experience in Archaeological Survey of India and northeastern region. It will be an opportunity for our historians in Mizoram to understand the prehistoric cultures of northeast. It will be a great opportunity for all of us to know about your experiences and your knowledge to all of us, and we'll be very happy to listen to you. And I will be listening and instead of speaking. So you please go ahead. Thank you very much, Dr. Robin.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Really and encouraging for all of us. I would at the outset like to introduce my colleagues. Uh, Myself, I am Prof. K.Robin, Head of Department, currently History and Ethnography, Mizoram University. And my colleague, Professor Lalzarliana, please raise your hand. Yeah, he's a senior professor in our department. And Professor Kishor Gaikwad, please raise your hand. Yeah, he is also faculty in the Department of History and Ethnography. Uh, 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 Sir Joseph Lalzarliana, please raise your hand. Yeah, he's also faculty member of our department. Dr. Premjit Singh, yeah, thank you so much. Uh, uh, this morning, it is really wonderful to have a discussion on prehistoric societies of Northeast India, which kind of lecture which doesn't come easily every day. It is a thing quite rare. So we are really fortunate to have with us Dr. Panikanta Misra. He has written a number of books. Of course, my colleague Joseph will say more on that. Religious, the kind of religious archaeology, archaeological exploration in Sikkim, Khajuraho, so many works Dr. Panikanta has done to his credit. Very insightful, very wonderful works. And it will be really, really, uh, you know, useful for our student. And this morning, I would like to admit that, unfortunately, both our semester students are currently right now having examination, semester examination. Otherwise, they would love to share live. But our discussion would be recorded, so our student will be able to hear again, even after the webinar. So no issue. And we have a lot of participants this morning. It's really wonderful. Now, let me give time to my colleague Joseph Lalzarliana to say some word, because he is actually teaching for so many years on archaeology and prehistory in our department. Sir Joseph, please take
Yeah,
your time.
thank you, Sir Robin. Good morning, everyone. Sir, Professor Mishra, and then my colleagues, and our Honorable Vice Chancellor is also here. I would like to say a few things about Dr. Mishra, who is our speaker today. Dr. Panikanta Mishra, he was the former regional director of the Archaeological Survey of India. And as our colleague Dr. Robin has said, he is now the present director of the Heritage Cell in Makaut. Makaut is, the long form is Maulana Abul Kalam Azad Institute of Technology in Kolkata, West Bengal. So there is a Heritage Cell over there. He is the director of Makaut. So apart from that, he is a scholar who has contributed in many ways to the field of archaeology, conservation, and museology in India. And he has excavated important sites in the country, such as the well-known Rakhigarhi site, which is in Hisar district in Haryana, and Chaitru, which is a Buddhist site in Kangra district in Himachal Pradesh. Dr. Mishra has also traveled all over India, and he has directed conservation of various types of monuments. He has also visited what used to be known as the Federal Republic of Germany and delivered lectures on archaeology of India and scientific conservation taken up in Indian monuments. And not only this, Dr. Mishra has also numerous experience of work in museums of the country, particularly in Punjab, Haryana, and Himachal Pradesh. Now, Dr. Mishra, apart from editing books, he has many papers, including several on conservation to his credit. And amongst his publications includes the Kadambas, 1979, the Hoysalas, 1979, Researches in Indian Archaeology, Art, Architecture, Culture and Religion, 1997, Researches in Archaeology and Conservation, 1999, and Khajuraho with latest discoveries, 2001, Archaeological Exploration in Sikkim, 2008. So these are some of his publications. So we hope to have a very, we are very fortunate to have a good and excellent speaker today who is also a scholar, archaeologist, who has done works on museology and conservation works all throughout the country. So I wish the very best to Dr. Mishra.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Joseph. Uh, uh, yeah, we have with us Professor Kishor. I think a few words you would like to speak because he's also a person who has done on archaeology and prehistoric cultures. So please, sir, Professor Kishor.
Yeah, thank you, Professor Robin. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah. Honorable Vice Chancellor, Honorable Dean, respected my colleagues in the department, especially Professor Robin and other colleagues. Dr. Fanikant Mishra, it is really, we are delighted to have you amongst us. And as you know, we were the other day discussing about the exploring number of things pertaining to archaeology, anthropology, and some new strands of the archaeology, as ethnoarchaeology or cognitive archaeology. What are the potential sites and what are the further leads you can provide? We are really looking forward to listen to you, sir. I'm really on personal note very happy to eager to listen to you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Yeah, a lot of all of us would like to say something, but then time is the factor. We have yet another webinar right after this at 11 o'clock. So if Saramura excuse me, I will straight away request our guest speaker to take his time. Yeah, Dr. Panikanta Mishra, dear sir, please take your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I feel it is a pleasure to be with you all. First of all, I thank Honorable Vice Chancellor of Mizoram Central University, a great scholar, Professor K.R. Sammasiva Rao, who had given me this opportunity to speak to all these faculty members and other students about prehistoric archaeology of the northeastern India. I have no words. I think thanking him is a very small word. I even thank Professor Robin, who has been so kind to speak about me, Professor Joseph of Department of History, all faculty members and students of history and other subjects, and my esteemed senior colleague who will be speaking to you on museology at about 11 o'clock, Mr. K.V. Rao. This is a very great opportunity to me in my 36 years of career in archaeology, that for the first time I am speaking on any subject on archaeology for Mizoram state. As you all know very well, voice chal raha chhe na? I think I am audible.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
you are audible. Yeah.
So what I want to first make a broad map of Mizoram state. What is the position of Mizoram at the moment about prehistoric archaeology? When Honorable Vice Chancellor gave me this invitation that I had to speak on these subjects, I was thinking, what is the geographical position of Mizoram? I found that it is bounded by Myanmar, Burma, which is very close to Mizoram, and east and south is Bangladesh, west is state of Tripura, Assam, and north is Manipur to the northeast. I was thinking why archaeologists or the historians could not work on prehistoric archaeology in this area. So many things was coming in my mind. Maybe the geographical status of Mizoram must be dense forest, hilly terrain, a heavy rainfall, and harsh climatic conditions. So it must be very difficult at some time to go for exploration in prehistoric archaeology. I want to tell you, because with my big experience in prehistoric archaeology, as I was the head of prehistoric cell of Archaeological Survey of India, which has the jurisdiction of all over the country. So we did prehistoric explorations in Andaman Nicobar area, Sikkim area, Northeast area, and we could find that it is very easy to discover proto-historic sites, because proto-historic sites are quite visible. You can see it. When you reach to the point, you get some mound, you get some structure, you get some kind of evidences like pottery. But for prehistoric discoveries, you have to be very alert. You have to choose how can we go for prehistoric work? How can we get the prehistoric tools? What are the places where we can think of getting the tools? So usually we used to travel in the river belts. We used to travel on the hillocks. We used to travel in the densely forest areas. And I want to tell you that my first exploration of prehistoric archaeology was done in Sikkim. Sikkim's dating after my exploration and after my discovery of the Neolithic tools has been established scientifically by me, which all over world has accepted, that Sikkim dating goes back to 8000 BC. So when I went with my team to Sikkim, I was thinking how to start the exploration, because Sikkim is also a very not very good area for the prehistoric explorers to go and work. The big river Tiesta is going on that Tiesta river there are so many hillocks, so many mountains, so many big forests. But my team was very energetic, and we started moving all around. We spent about 1 month. We could not get anything there. We could not get any early Stone Age tools, Middle Stone Age tools, late Stone Age tools. We were not getting microliths. Suddenly, when we were very much upset, then we met the Deputy Commissioner of North Sikkim, a very intelligent man. He was Sikkimese, and he had a lot of interest in history. So that Deputy Commissioner said, Ki, I am seeing you all moving every day for 20 kilometers, 25 kilometers with your team. And what are you finding it? The press is telling that nothing you have found. Then I explained him, Ki, this is the position, and we are not getting any very good sites, which we are expecting. We are getting all medieval sites, not prehistory, historic sites. And whereas you have got prehistoric sites in Tibet, we have got prehistoric sites in Nepal, we have got prehistoric sites in China. So today Sikkim is the independent Sikkim, but at that time it was the one area of China, Tibet, and Nepal. So if we are getting in that area, why we are not getting in this area? So this is a very big problematic question for we archaeologists. He laughed. He told me, can you show me what kind of tools you are searching for? I told him we are searching for this kind of old Stone Age tools, Middle Stone Age tools, late Stone Age tools, the microliths, the neoliths. When I came to neolith, that deputy commissioner jumped and he told me, oh, this neolithic tools, you call it tool? In Sikkim, they call it Vajradanga. I said, what is this Vajradanga? He said, we feel that when there is a lightning during rains, so God sends this kind of stones. And in most of the residences who are very rich residents of Sikkim, they have kept it in their prayer hall, in the puja room, and they are doing puja of this kind of stone. So I told that deputy commissioner, why don't you take me to some of the places where I can go and I can verify that are we talking of the same prehistoric tools which you mean? So immediately he rang to the more than 50 Neolithic tools in his prayer hall. Those tools were cells, beautifully polished cells. They had, I'll just show you the pictures if you can see here. I think, can you see this kind of Neolithic tools? They were cells, they were unifacial, bifacial. And when I saw, I jumped. I said, how could you say that these tools are coming from God's search and God is sending you? This is a purely Neolithic tools and it is dated back to 8000 BC. Similar tools we are getting in Nepal, similar tools we are getting in China, similar tools we are getting in Tibet. So why can't you understand? It is not that Vajradanga. Then that deputy commissioner told me, Dr. Mishra, if you will tell this thing, my all people will be little tense because there is a religious sanctity for these tools. Then it was very difficult for we archaeologists to explain the people that how is it that we can say that these tools are the Neolithic tools when the human evolution started and human being started domestication and agriculture had started, and for agriculture things they were using this kind of cells for plowing and other things. We started taking class. First of all, what I want to tell you very freely, that I have to teach all bureaucrats of Sikkim. The chief minister called me, the governor called me, and governor was telling me, "Ki, how could you tell it of 10,000 BC, 8,000 BC? Please explain me." So I started explaining them. I started taking class. I started taking class of all bureaucrats, all police officers, and they were taught by me, and they were made to understand that this is a tool. I'm with the chief secretary of that state. You can see he is very nice fellow who helped me in getting the things established. The other one is Director General Police, and other is Chief Secretary. So Chief Secretary told me, Dr. Mishra, for a few days again you give the class and make these people understand what it is. I could make a social consensus among the public of Sikkim. It took me 7-8 months, because without their help, I would not have been successful in discovering something what I wanted. So after they were convinced, the local people started telling me, sir, these kind of tools are in the Tiesta Basin in C2. That was my main aim, to discover the tools in situ, because archaeology is a pure science. Here 2 + 2 will be 4. It won't be 8 or 7 or 9. So that one monk told me, sir, this kind of tools we have seen in one of the monastery where it is kept from since beginning, and we will take you to that place. We went. That was Thumsong. Thumsong, we went there. We saw that tools were in the layer, in the wall of the soil. And wonderful thing which I could find the matte impression on the floor. You understand? I think Professor Robin and other scholars would understand the most important thing which we got it was matte impression, the cow dung impression on the mat. I was so happy to find all that in the C2, and then we started working on it. We laid down the trenches, and we got 32 sites. 32 sites in the Sikkim area, in the north and south Sikkim both. And those sites were of highly important sites. We had that region was of so interesting for us that we could get the techniques of Neolithic cells in 3-4 developments of the Neolithic cells in 3-4 systems. So now my interest to the Sikkim started. I worked with my team, and I uncovered and excavated 29 new Neolithic sites in course of my expedition, and recorded over 100 stone tools there. These discoveries are very well documented in my volume on Sikkim, and government of Sikkim was kind enough to recognize my discovery, and they accepted very well that now the dating of Sikkim will go back to 10,000 BC. And there was a seminar in Sikkim. In that seminar, many archaeologists from the world came, and we went to the site. We showed them the excavated area, what we did, how excavation was done, how there was a changes in soils, how there was changes in layers. So we could get all scientific data which was required. And the typological analysis of the tools were made, and we got this final report that there were 2 phases in their development, which forms the basis of 2-fold SEMA that has been introduced for their identification. These phases were early phase with tools being wholly chipped and the edge ground, and the second phase, later phase, with packed and edge ground and fully ground tools. Using the schema, the early phase shows common features with Hoyabian culture of Southeast Asia dated to 10,000 BC, and later phase assignable to 8000 BC shows a close affinity with that of South China and Southeast Asia. In describing these features, for the first time, the discovery of this typology links Sikkim with its surrounding regions. Furthermore, it suggests a uniform development for the whole area. While much more works need to be done, the results described fill an important gap in our knowledge about the prehistory of the whole area. While I worked this in 2001 and 2002, after that, I was posted in Archaeological Survey of India in various capacities as director of the zone, director of the circle, and I was busy in some, not in prehistory, but I went with the proto-history. I was the director of Rakhi Gadi, the largest Harappan site of the world. So I was involved in that. Then I had many works to do for the conservation like Khajuraho. My discovery, if you go in net and see Deor Kothar, a very important Buddhist site of 3rd century BC, Mauryan site, where Kaningam also could not reach. And in Rewa district of Madhya Pradesh, then my discovery of new temple in Khajuraho. So likewise, I was busy. Certainly, now in 2021, I am getting a message from Professor K.R. Sambashiva Rao, a very eminent scholar and honorable Vice Chancellor of Mizoram Central University, and asking me, ki, Dr. Mishra, if you can deliver lecture to our faculty and our university on prehistoric archaeology of the Mizoram. I was thinking it was another, challenge to me to know about Mizoram. I had been to Mizoram. I had been to some areas of Myanmar and Burma and other places, but I never knew very well how is this area. So I started studying with the books and all, what is the position of Mizoram in the prehistoric archaeology. I found that no work has been done or no discovery has been done so far on prehistoric sites. The discoveries which I could find in Mizoram, that was your Champai district, Lianpuri, Lungfulan, Buan, Dungtang, and Parkon. Then we have all these very new discoveries. Making a comparative study with the prehistory, they are very late ones. Although we have in Mizoram, the world's biggest macropolis was discovered at Mizoram, at a nearby site of Wangchia village in Champai. It is declared now protected, and state government has also many sites of archaeological importance. Central government has also opened, Archaeological Survey of India has opened one circle in Ajol, and they are doing work. What is very important now, we have to work methodically with problem-oriented to discover the early Stone Age, Middle Stone Age, and late Stone Age sites at Mizoram. As an archaeologist, as an experience for so many years in archaeology, I can give an affidavit that in this area, definitely we are going to get early Stone Age tools. Definitely we are going to get pebbles. Definitely we are going to get factory sites. Because why? The geographical setup which I saw, I was working with the topo sheets of Mizoram. I could see that in topo sheets, at many places there are rims. There are rivers, then there are rims, there are mountains, there are filthy, very densely forest area. So this kind of area is very, very it's like a doctor, if he touches the nerves, he would find out that this patient is having typhoid or something like that. So as a prehistory doctor, I could smell definitely that this area will fetch us the early Stone Age tools, the Middle Stone Age tools. Why? The culture of this area, what I find, has got a very old history. Today it is, we on records it is saying that mm, we feel that it was only, it came into development only when Britishers had come. It is very late, and but the earliest history, when I was reading about Myanmar, Burma, and east and south Bangladesh, west Tripura, Assam, north, and the Manipur where I have discovered. So all these places are fertile for early Stone Age culture. So how that no work has been done in this area? So we have to work out to know the history of this area by finding prehistoric culture. Mizoram is not a very big area, very small area is there. And I think if your university vice chancellor makes a good team of archaeologists with the faculty members, I don't think it is very difficult to discover prehistoric sites here. The reason behind it, I will just brief you. You people are scholars, you know about the evolution of man's theory. You know that human being go back to 2.6 million years ago, when men were nomads. They were not knowing if we walk and there is a wall or there is a cave or there is a rock shelter, our head will break if we go straight. They had no sense of mind. Their cranial capacity was 2.5. Now our cranial capacity today is 18.5. You understand me? But suddenly there was an evolution in man, and we have evidences that man now thinks that if suppose we have to get good food, we have to uh, kill the animals. So man was sitting on the top of the rock of the mountain, and down in the river, if some animals are coming to take water, he thought, let us use these stone boulders, and with that stone boulders, let us kill these animals, because now we should not fight with the animals, whether animals will kill us or we will kill the animal, then only we will get food. But now this is the change in mind's mind. I'm talking of 2.6 million years ago. Keep it in mind. It is just a beginning of the human civilization and development of IQ and mind. So he takes the boulder, he sits on the top, he is waiting for the animal who is coming there near the river to take the water, and he attacks. He attacks, the animals are wounded or they are injured, then he runs with the boulders only, and then he attacks with the boulders. The animals are killed. This is early Stone Age. This is the old Stone Age, where no man activity was done in the beginning, in the first phase of early Stone Age. Only boulders were used to kill these animals. Now again, there is some development in man's mind. What he thinks, ki, oh, for removing the skin, these boulders are not very useful. So what to do? He started making some spanning the stones, so that that axe type of that stones are made, so that they can remove the skin of the animal, they can remove the flesh of the animal. And then in 1000, 2000, 3000 years, in the old Stone Age only, this was another evolution, that hand axes were prepared. That hand axes were prepared, and now this prehistoric man had feeling of taste. They thought, oh, suppose if we take the skin and the flesh with these kind of tools, it is more tasty, and the taste has developed. So then there was a growth. They started making some small tools. They started some microliths, blades, cherts, and then again they grow like that. They started living in rock shelters where that was their house. And with that rock shelters, they started making paintings in the rock shelters. That shows that now there is a big growth in their mind. Likewise, there was an evolution. And certainly after Mesolith, that comes another very important development and evolution of man, that is plowing of fields. They got the taste of rice or wheat or whatever they were doing plantation. So these Neolithic tools were made. These Neolithic tools were made for plowing. It was a celt. It has unifacial, bifacial action. And it was built so well. Its polish was done so well by the Neolithic man in 10,000 BC, 8,000 BC, that even when we are getting these tools today, we find that they have been polished just yesterday. And that was used for domestication and for cultivation. They started using cow dung. With that cow dung, they started making floors during Neolithic periods only. With that floors, they have used mats on it. Where we are getting mats of the cane prepared by them, and that mat impression we are getting in Sikkim. And likewise, human civilization developed. Here I want to tell you one more thing, which is very important. That is, our country had the relation during prehistory time from other countries of the world also. Because at Narmada Basin, you know there is Narmada which is going in Madhya Pradesh. Narmada Basin at the lower strata, that is the lowest strata just above the virgin soil on the river basin, we got one skull, fossilized skull of Bos nomardicus elephant. So archaeologists, when they discovered it in 1950s, they were very happy and they started working on it, how old this fossilized skull will be. They got this impression that this animal was found during early Stone Age time, because that elephant's figure was very different. So in 1950s, when archaeologists in India discovered this, in 1965, same level, same animal was discovered by the archaeologists at South Africa. And that was a place known as Odwai Gorge. In Odwai Gorge, when at the same level, when they got this animal skull fossilized, then it was established archaeologically that at that time, that is 2.6 billion years ago, there was a culture which remained in all over the world, especially in the countries like South Africa and some parts of Europe, which had the sea area. There they were getting this kind of thing. So it was established. I feel personally that since Madhya Pradesh area, Narmada Basin was very easily accessible, and we can explore and we can get this Olduvai Gorge culture animals fossilized. Definitely at Mizoram also. Mizoram's location, Mizoram's total geographical setup is very much conducive with the settlements where they could have definitely some relation with the South African culture or other old cultures of that time. So, but your area is purely virgin. No work on early Stone Age has been done. We have to work out who lived here. There is one Manjil Hajarika, who is a scholar of that area, who has written, I read that book also, but I could not find much information about prehistory. So we have to work who lived here during prehistoric times. When did they live here? What culture did they have? How did their culture change? So we have to work on it. We have to work on origin of the prehistoric man in Mizoram. That is always a mystery. Your Mizoram's archaeology is itself is a mystery because your climate is very tough. Your landscape related issues are very tough. There are many things which pose problems to scholar for research. So my submission and suggestion to your university will be that we should be very serious about this and we should trace out some later Stone Age, Upper Paleolithic age cultures of this area, which is 100%. I can give an affidavit that it is hidden somewhere. As an archaeologist, and as my experience of big years in archaeology, I can see its geographical setup and I can say that this place is definitely very convenient for the prehistoric man. Your as we know that later Stone Age, Upper Paleolithic age, 40,000 years ago had relations with Europe and Near East and African countries. But we have got one earliest depiction of human in a Stone Age art is ivory sculpture of a female figure known as Venus of Hoyle Fels after the cave in Germany. That has been dated by archaeologists as 40,000 years old. What I feel ki if we have this evidence and similar evidences we are getting in Central India, we are getting in eastern part of India, that is near some parts of Assam. So this Mizoram is not very far from them. Mizoram also had its culture, has some ancient areas. Of course, we are working only on the earlier sites, that is the latest which we are getting is manhis. We are getting megaliths in Mizoram. But these megaliths are not the only final history of Mizoram. Mizoram has got a very good detailed history, and we should not keep Mizoram as what we were knowing Mizoram in 1750 to 1850. Its history was earlier known, and as you know, Mizo called Lushai tribes migrated from the nearby Chin Hills, and British in 1873 came there, and likewise 1987 you got the statehood. So this is all late works. We are archaeologists. We have to go back. We have to bring back the history of Mizoram to the early Stone Age period. And at least Neolithic sites, definitely we will get it. Because in Myanmar, we are getting Neolithic sites. Myanmar is not very far from there. We are getting early Stone Age sites in Myanmar. We are getting in Bangladesh. Why not we will get it this place? This needs to be studied. And I will stop here also because many things I wanted to tell, because what I feel ki prehistoric archaeology is not very very interesting archaeology in that way. Sometimes it becomes very boring. because proto-history, you get cities, you get so many new things. You get when we go for excavation, so from morning till evening, we are discovering something all. But in prehistoric discoveries, we get very little. For months, if we excavate, then we will get some very important small discoveries. So here, but again, my request will be to your honorable, respected Vice Chancellor to make it a teamwork and give new thing to the world through your Central University of Mizoram by making a big discovery of prehistoric sites in Mizoram. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
It's really, really interesting and very informative, widening, enlarging our knowledge on prehistoric cultures of Northeast India, and especially, particularly, very interesting on uh, that you have touched on Mizoram. We want to know who are the prehistoric people of Mizoram. Indeed, this is an intriguing question which needs to be answered till we don't have any answer till now. Yeah, I'll pass on to Sir Joseph to handle some questions also.
Yeah, thank you, Sir Robin. Dr. Mishra, yeah, I share your concern regarding how prehistoric archaeology could get boring, especially if there are audiences. But for us, it becomes more and more interesting when we hear about new findings, discoveries, dates, and so on. In Mizoram, in fact, the Archaeological Survey of India started exploration works in 2014, I think. So 2017, they published a report. So that's one report, I think. Later years after 2017, I don't know whether they've published any report or not. So they collected many things like stone tools, I believe. So this is what the one exploration and excavation has been done from their side, and from our department's side we have also done a number of exploration, especially of the eastern part of Mizoram, that is Champhai district. So we used to go with students, we used to explore, and we've been quite successful in that regard. And as far as stone tools are concerned, in the Mizoram State Museum, there are they have good collection of stone tools, but what is unfortunate is that people have donated these stone tools, and it has been difficult to trace the donator and from where did they pick up the stone tools. So in 2019, we asked some students to trace the origins of those tools, from where did they come. So some of them we could establish. And this year we had gone to Nehu, Northeastern Hill University, Shillong, anthropology department. We brought the stone tools with us. So we compared the stone tools. So we believe that, as you've just said, there are a lot of affinities between Northeast India, prehistory of Northeast India and Southeast Asia and so on. So human beings in prehistoric times must have used Northeast India as a corridor. Yeah, thank you very much for the nice lecture. And of course, yeah, we as Mizoram University, we need to take up exploration works or excavation works in the name of our department or as the university as a whole, since archaeology as a discipline is yet to be developed in Mizoram. And yeah, Mizoram has its climate is mild. There are no extremes of climate, and so I think during the dry season, like 3-4 months, we can always do exploration works, excavation works, and we can do it together. So in the future, I hope with the assistance of our honorable vice chancellor, we can work together, you and our department, towards prehistoric archaeology in Mizoram. So thank you very much for the lecture.
Yeah, there is, sir, Dr. Misra, one question, a couple of questions. Uh, how is the development of archaeology in Mizoram different from the rest of Northeast India? Since you are also part of the Archaeological Survey of India some time ago, I think you'd be able to answer this. How is the development of archaeology in Mizoram different from the rest of Northeast India? Hello?
Archaeology, I agree with you, Professor, that the researches of archaeology in your area, that is Mizoram area, was not taken up very well in past. But now Archaeological Survey of India is very serious about it. And we have opened a new circle, you know very well, at Ajol. And with the new team of experts, new team of archaeologists, I am sure in coming years, ASI will do great works in that area. Because opening a circle is itself is showing that now government is very much interested and keen to do archaeological works. So earlier it was neglected. Earlier I
Okay.
don't say that a lot of works have been done, and but it was neglected. It was neglected.
Sir Robin, may I just speak
Okay.
on something
Okay.
on that?
Uh,
See,
yes, yes.
archaeology, prehistoric archaeology in Northeast India, it came from Gauhati University Anthropology Department, like in the 1960s. Like T.C. Sharma and his colleagues, they had, initiated excavation exploration works. Now, see, the thing is, in Mizoram or Mizoram University, anthropology as a discipline, archaeology as a discipline is not taught in colleges or universities. But in all other northeastern states like Gauhati University, Manipur University, Nagaland, Shillong, everywhere, the universities have anthropology departments and archaeology departments. But in Mizoram, there is none. And under the state government of Mizoram, archaeology is just a very, very small part of the art and culture department. So in that sense, it needs a lot of. We cannot speak of any development of archaeology as such in Mizoram. We still have to make the beginning. And ASI, Archaeological Survey of India, needs to publish more reports. The first and the last we've seen is 2017. So even
17.
after that, they've been doing works also. So we need to see more of their works. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, Professor, you are very right. But
Yeah.
I would suggest your state government to create archaeology. Archaeology department is there, so that should work out very well. And I would request your vice chancellor to open one archaeology department with your department, so
Yes.
that students are interested to take archaeological studies, and many researches can be done on archaeological aspect. And I am sure that Mizoram will give us lot of new archaeological evidences.
Yes, of
So it
course.
is very important to have one archaeology department in Mizoram University. And if your university and your so nice, great vice chancellor takes little initiative, I'm sure it will be opened there.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it's extremely interesting to learn from you. Really, sir, our Mizoram, we do not know our remote past. We could only understand some of the history that has been given to us by ethnographers, particularly European ethnographers, British ethnographers. Otherwise, it is extremely difficult at the moment to understand about the prehistoric cultures of the Mizos. So, considering what you have done in Sikkim, I think it would also be really hopeful in the near future to learn through archaeology, you know, from some of the tools that are available at hand. You are telling that one fine day you got some tools from the religious room where there are some religious ceremonies being done. Then you are able to deduce, you are able to reconstruct the history of the Sikkim. In that context, I think Mizoram also would not be so difficult to reconstruct the history of
Yes.
prehistoric cultures of the Mizos, considering large number of tools that are available at hand. So I think a little bit of cooperation, collaboration with Archaeological Survey of India, people like you can actually chip in so that we can do a lot of work for our history. And it's really,
Sure.
really wonderful to have you today.
Thank you.
And anybody else want to come in from our colleagues? Professor Lalzarliana, Professor Kishor, Prem.
No, there are many questions. No, you first ask the questions, Robin. You are not asking questions. You are going for
Yeah.
discussions.
Actually, sir, there is two questions. One question is being answered, and the other one is whether the historians did find any resemblance between drooling, mouth-watering, delicious dish of Mizoram, voxarep, and South Indian famous dish. I think this he did not actually discuss in the lecture. So I
Actually, there
thought,
are no questions on the topic relevant to the topic. So
yeah, it's not relevant, sir. In fact, the speaker will not be able to handle this.
Okay, okay. And there are some other on tops. There are some other questions. No, there are some other questions.
No, sir.
You started from last. No, there are.
Whether the historians find any resemblance between drooling,
No,
mouth-watering, delicious dish.
before that,
After that,
before that,
I did not see, sir. Very good webinar. That's
no,
I
before
did not
that,
see, sir.
before that also there are two questions.
There is one. Could the findings in Myanmar and Bangladesh influence the narrative if ever prehistoric evidence were to be discovered in Mizoram in the future? Could the findings in Myanmar and Bangladesh influence the narrative if ever prehistoric evidence were to be discovered in Mizoram
You are
in the
not
future?
started from the first question. There are two questions, three you have left out in the beginning. That how a legal
Sir,
body
in my
already.
computer it is not visible.
You might have gone somewhere. I think I just read out those two questions.
Okay, sir, please, it's not here.
How a legal body or person is already engaged with it or can help the organization of museum and prehistoric cultures of Northeast India. This is what asked by someone from Priyadas. I more like to do social work, which is what about he is asking how a legal body or person already engaged with it or can help the organization of a museum or prehistoric cultures of Northeast India.
Yeah, I got the question. Actually, what is there? We have got our act, as you all know, that we have Antiquities Act that is in 1972. As per that act, we have to follow the discoveries. Like there was a question that how best the antiquities of prehistoric times, which we got it in Bangladesh and Myanmar, can be very useful for Mizoram if we get anything like that. So once we get the tool, that becomes an antiquity. Legally, it is very valuable thing, maybe a tool or something. So we have to work not legally, we have to work with the act, which is already passed by the parliament. And that act fully clarifies that how these antiquities needs to be taken care, whether we have to donate it to the museum or we have to give it to some organization, university and all. For that, you have to take the permission of Archaeological Survey of India, whose registering officer will go and register the antiquities. It may be tool or anything. And then you have to request that registering officer that we want to keep it in some museum or some universities. Then there is a panel of experts who will decide where and what, how to give. So that gentleman who is asking about legal things in it, so he has to follow the Antiquities Act only and no other act. Even central government has got the power which is not binding on anyone except the final authority is central government. He can instruct the state government that these antiquities are the central property and they can acquire it. That act is very strong.
And one more question is also left out by Robin. It is, I think, is not visible that traditionally Garo,
Yes, sir.
Jaintiya, and Kasi societies adopt matrilineal system, and mother's property shall be inherited by youngest daughter. Such a case, where is gender equality in Northeast region? He was asking since prehistoric. No, one Babura Basala is asking that.
Actually, especially in Mizoram, we are very new to the prehistoric archaeology. And we don't have any evidences in other prehistoric archaeology that females had this right or males had this right. So I don't think anybody can answer this question.
Yes, sir. And I think now you can see other persons. No, you can ask.
Yes, sir. Actually, in my computer, those questions did not appear. That is why, sir, I could not see.
Okay.
Anyway,
No,
thank you so much.
Yes.
Yeah. One thing that I would like to ask the guest speaker, sir, is that we have a very small museum in our department wherein we have some skulls, bones, human remains, and also we have some tools. I think with your help, we can identify and also date actually what tools actually belong, which period. So I think
Sure.
we will send you some of
Sure.
the photos.
Sure, please send me. With naked eye, I can say that
The
this is of
photos,
old
and you can
Stone
at
Age.
least, yeah.
It's a Middle Stone Age or
Yeah.
late Stone Age.
That
And
will
even
be
the
interesting.
fossils. Yes. It is my subject. I can tell any
Yes.
time.
Yeah.
You send me the photographs. I will check up and I will let you know.
And also to, we will do that immediately. We will send you. Yes, sir. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. Dear friends, any other questions from our colleagues?
Okay, if no questions are there, you can go for second. If no questions are there, second webinar you can start.
Then we can go with the second speaker. Yes, sir. Second webinar, we will straight away start. And we will also request our guest speaker to join us, to continue joining us in the second webinar also.
I'm there.
Okay.
I'm there.
Yeah. Now, I would like to request our second speaker, Dr. K.V. Rao, to please come online. I think switch on the video. Hello, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah.
Can you hear me, sir?
Oh yes. Can you kindly switch on your video? Hello.
It seems he joined with two items.
Maybe we cannot
I think
see his,
Can I start, sir?
Yes, sir.
We are yet again very much fortunate to have with us an eminent speaker, a guest speaker, K.V. Rao, former Deputy Superintending Archaeologist, Archaeological Survey of India, Hyderabad, and currently he's Special Officer, JSS Museum, Suturu, Mysuru, Karnataka. So today, this morning, he is going to speak on a very, very relevant and interesting topic, very important, especially for a state like Mizoram, how to organize a museum. Sir, it will be very helpful for our department as well, because we have a very small museum, which we would like to very much develop in our university. So I'm sure your speech would really enlighten us. And sir, we are thankful to our Vice Chancellor for connecting you with us this morning. And please go ahead and take your time, sir.
Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor K.R.S. Rao, Professor K.Robin, Professor L. Sailo, Professor Joseph, Dr. Kishor Gaikwad, and other faculty members of the Department of History and Ethnography of Mizoram University, Dr. P.K. Mishraji, Director, Heritage Cell, Maulana Abul Kalam Azad University of Technology, Calcutta, and former Regional Director, Archaeological Survey of India, Calcutta, and today's main speaker of this webinar, and my dear students. Very good morning to all of you. I am very happy to inform you that Sri Veera Simhasana Mahasamsthanam Math, which was established more than 1000 years ago at Suttur, Mysore district, Karnataka, where I am presently setting up a folklore museum, is giving free education, boarding and lodging, books.
Sir, can you kindly switch on your video, sir?
Switch on video.
Sir, can you please switch on your video? We are
Visible,
not able to see you.
No,
Is it visible?
video is visible, Robin. For us, video is visible.
Oh, I think my connection problem from my side, I think.
Yes. The video is there.
Restart my computer.
You can go ahead, sir. You
Okay.
can,
I cannot see it all from my side. Okay, yeah.
Hello. Yes, gone.
Hello, sir.
You can go ahead, sir. You can go ahead.
Yeah.
Your video now it is actually your video is not now gone, but you are shown poster only. Okay, let him go because video internet may be weaker there. Let him speak.
So. It is a small village, sir. Small village. I think internet problem is there.
Okay. Yeah. Now poster
sir,
is only poster is visible, sir. You are not visible.
I am not visible. ಇಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ವಿ now you can see, sir.
Only poster is visible, sir. You are not visible.
Sir, he is focusing on his screen, maybe.
ನಮ್ಮ ಫೋಟೋ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ
Yeah, he is focusing on his screen, maybe, sir.
Now you are visible.
Yeah. Sir, our JSS institutions are giving free education, boarding and lodging, books, uniforms to students from Mizoram, Manipur every year, including their return journey to their places. These students are taken good care by our management. These students are proving their merit in education, sports, cultural and other activities, and are getting good name to our Jagat Guru Sri Sivaratreswara or JSS institutions. Sir, it's a great honor for me to deliver this online lecture on how to organize a museum in the presence of several dignitaries, eminent historians, scholars, my fellow archaeologists and museologists. I have worked in ASI, that is Archaeological Survey of India, for 36.5 years in several states in several designations, out of which I was involved in organizing or reorganizing museums from 1978 till my retirement in 2002. I am not sitting idle even after my retirement and involved in the organization of several museums like Golden Jubilee Museum in Agathi Island in Lakshadweep and other museums. I had the great privilege to work in the museums pertaining to Harappan culture at Lothal in Gujarat, Satavahana period in 1st century at Amravati in Andhra Pradesh, to modern period museum at Valla, Goa, etc. I have handled antiquities and other objects pertaining to the period from Harappan culture to medieval and modern periods in various museums. Though I joined ASI during 1965, I have undergone in-service training in post-graduation diploma in School of Archaeology, New Delhi, run by School of ASI in 71-72 session, in which museums was a compulsory paper. Actually, I was fascinated to select this field during my post-graduation in Osmania University, Hyderabad, during 63-65, and my guru, Professor Radhakrishna Sharma, instilled good interest in me to select archaeology subject and encouraged me to join ASI when I received the offer of appointment from ASI in 1965. In our first year MA, our professor has taken us on a study tour to Chalukyan monuments at Badami, Pattadkal and Aihole, and Islamic monuments at Bijapur in Karnataka, and to Kakatiya monuments in Warangal, Palampet, Ganpur, in the present Telangana state in our final year. During our All India study tour by the School of Archaeology, we have taken round major museums, site museums, Muslim, Hindu, Jain monuments, Buddhist stupas in different states except Jammu Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Haryana, Kerala, and northeastern states. Though I joined the ASI in 1965, I could get the opportunity to serve in the museums only after my posting on promotion to Lothal Museum in Gujarat in 1978 as assistant superintending archaeologist. Later, I had the opportunity to work in Goa. Later, I had the opportunity to work in Goa, Amravati, Kondapur, Nagarjunakonda, Chandragiri museums in Andhra Pradesh, Badami, Pattadkal, and Aihole in Karnataka. I have worked in such museums that possessed the objects pertaining to Harappan, Satavahana, Ikshwaku, Chalukyas of Badami, later Chalukya, Kakatiya, Hoysala, Nizam Shahi, Barid Shahi, Bahmani, Vijayanagara, Adil Shahi, Tipu Sultan, and Mysore Wadayars, British and Portuguese cultures. I was also involved in the museums at Halibid and Srirangpatna. While I was working in the Island Museum at Nagarjunakonda during 1980 to 88, I was deputed to England by Government of India during 1985 for a short-term course on museums. And again, when I was working in Goa Museum in 1995, on my next promotion as Deputy Superintending Archaeologist, I was invited by the Government of Portugal on a study tour of their museums and monuments. I had the great privilege to visit the British Museum, Victoria and Albert Museum, or Wax Museum, Museum of London, Greenwich Museum, and other important museums in England, and the museums at Lisbon, Coimbra, Porto, and other museums in Portugal. After my retirement, I was invited by the administrator of Lakshadweep Island for setting up a Golden Jubilee Museum in Agathi Island. Later, I have set up the archaeological galleries in Bagalkot Museum, which I am going to show at the end of my lecture, and involved in the reorganization of District Museum at Baso Kalyad in Bidar district of Karnataka. Afterwards, I was appointed as museum consultant by Tourism Development Corporation, Government of AP, Hyderabad, for setting up the regional Buddhist museum at Buddhavanam in Nalgonda district of Andhra Pradesh. I have set up archaeological galleries in Manjusha Museum at Dharmasthala in Karnataka. Presently, I am setting up a museum in two-story building for JSS Veerasimhasana Samsthana, Mahasamsthana Mata at Suttur in Mysore district of Karnataka. With this background, before I start my lecture on how to organize a museum, I propose to trace the origin of museum movement in India. Let us know the meaning of the word museum. The word museum is a Greek word meaning the place or the house of old objects. The museum is the repository of culture and heritage of the country. Origin and growth of museums in India. The concept of museums in India may be traced back to the historical times in which references to the Chitrashala or picture gallery in royal palaces do occur. However, the museum movement postdates the similar developments that occurred in Europe. The British civil servants and other officers were collecting number of old objects in course of their tours in India, and the necessity to house these items in a safer place was felt by the then East India Company. The earliest necessity to house the objects of antiquarian nature dates back to 1796, when the Royal Asiatic Society of Bengal realized the necessity to house this enormous collection of archaeological, ethnological, geological, and zoological pursuits. All such objects collected from different parts of the country have been preserved in Royal Asiatic Society of Bengal at Calcutta. However, the first museum was started by them in 1814. The nucleus of this Royal Asiatic Society Museum later was converted as Indian Museum at Calcutta. Establishment of Archaeological Survey of India. The ASI, or the Department of Archaeology in India, as it was called initially, has been established in 1861, and it took up several explorations, investigations since the time of the first Director General, Sir Alexander Cunningham, and vast quantity of antiquarian remains were collected by the department. The idea of the site museums was initiated by Sir John Marshall, the then Director General, who conceptualized the establishment of the site museums in 1905 for displaying the excavated antiquities in the close vicinity of their provenance to empower visitors with comprehensive vision of the site, its context, and treasures, so that the site as well as the artifacts can be evaluated holistically. The concept of the site museum is the policy of the Government of India to keep the small and movable antiquities recovered from the ancient sites in close association with the remains to which they belong, so they may be studied amid their natural surroundings and not lose focus by being transported from the site. A separate museums branch has been created in the SI in 1946 by Sir Mortimer Wheeler, the then Director General. The ASI, the major custodian of India's vast cultural property, has established several site museums at the excavated sites. They are Sarnath, Nalanda, Sanchi, Khajuraho, Nagarjunakonda, Bijapur, Hampi, and Amravati, to mention only few. After India's independence, there was a spurt in the growth of site museums in ASI. Presently, there are more than 50 archaeological site museums run by ASI, spreading over the length and breadth of India, that is Kangra in Himachal Pradesh in the north to Mattancherry Palace in Kochi in Kerala in the south, and Sri Surya Pahad in Assam in the east to Dholavira in Gujarat in the west. After the formation of the linguistic states, several state governments have also established museums in their states with the financial assistance from the Government of India and also from their own resources. Management of the museums. Apart from ASI and state government, municipal corporations, several universities, colleges, and religious mutts, temples, charitable institutions, or trusts, corporate bodies, and individuals are also maintaining the museums. The museums of ASI and that of state government are headed by assistant archaeologist or curator or assistant superintending archaeologist or the assistant director, and special officers are heading the private museums. Types of museums. Apart from ASI and national museums, state museums, there are site museums, folklore museums, tribal museums, coins and currency museum, calico museum, rail museum, anthropological museum, zoological museum, geological museum, weights and measures museum, science museum, technology museums, planetariums, reserve bank museum, aeronautical museum, art galleries, children museums, museums of man, police museums, etc., which are maintained by several ministries, corporate bodies, and few philanthropic individuals. Many of these museums are ticketed to meet the expenditure on the maintenance and upkeep of the museums. The activities of the ASI museums and that of state government museums are coordinated by the Ministry of Culture or Education or Tourism and Culture Ministries, Government of India. or state governments as the case may be. Museum staff. The Museum of ASI or state government is headed by a curator or assistant archaeologist as the case may be for its day-to-day maintenance and the safety of the museum objects. He is assisted by a modeler or marksman or carpenter, artist, storekeeper, ministerial staff, electrician, computer operator, gallery attendants, chowkidars or night watchmen, sweepers, office attendants, etc. Several of these designations have been changed and redesigned by ASI and state governments of these days. Let us now come to the today's topic, how to organize a museum. Organizing a museum is not possible for an individual as it involves a lot of finances for construction of the building, providing electrical fixtures, spotlights, preparation of wall or pillar or island showcases for minor objects, wooden or RCC pedestals for heavy objects like stone sculptures or inscribed slabs or pillars, providing infrastructure, visitors lobby, CCTV, security measures, facilities for tourists, for filter drinking water, toilet blocks for male and female, wheelchairs, lift for the aged, physically challenged and senior citizen. To view the exhibit in the first floor, visitors benches, canteen facilities, sales come ticket counter, touch screen kiosk, conservation lab, store room, staff salary, office stationery, scanner, computers, printers, Xerox machine, internet facility, sanitary material, fire extinguishers, metal detectors, luggage room or clock room facilities, sufficient parking place for vehicles, electrical consumption bills, office furniture, etc. The Ministry of Culture, Government of India may extend financial assistance for establishing new museums if the terms and conditions prescribed by the ministry are fulfilled in the detailed project report or DPR, which is mandatory for obtaining financial grants from them. Before reorganizing any museum, the following points are to be kept in mind. The site selection. The selection of a good open space is essential for establishing a museum. The site so selected should not be of loose soil, as it may not withstand the load of the RCC building. It may develop cracks on the walls and the roof, and it may allow rainwater and damage the exhibits in the long run. Strong foundation on such soil will be very expensive. The construction cost of the building will be less if the land is of hard soil. The area should be free from any sort of litigations. Sufficient land may be acquired for museum building and its further expansion if needed in future. Space for vehicle parking and space for staff quarters, or at least quarters for the watch and ward staff. There should be a compound wall with only one entrance and exit gate. The site should be nearer ancient monument or a tourist spot, and it should be easily approachable to visitors in good crowds. The area around the museum building should be landscaped with grassy lawns and trees for present look. I want to quote one example. We have one site museum established by the Nizam government during 1940s at a place called Kondapur in Medak district. Actually, the site museum is around 1 kilometer away from the village. It's a small village. It was not connected to the main road also. our experience was this museum was visited by 1 or 2 visitors only per day, and we get some crowds only when there is a in the village. So that's why I suggested the museum, the site for a museum should be in the near a tourist spot where we can expect more tourists to this tourist spot and also to the museum. Then construction of a building. It is necessary that a reputed civil engineer may be assigned with the construction of the building as per the specifications, plan and design prepared by the architect. The front elevation of the building should reflect the local architecture of an ancient monument. The halls should be airy and should have ventilators for passing air and sunlight inside the gallery. The building should be painted with pleasing colors to attract more crowds. Accommodation. The museum building should be so planned to accommodate galleries, office room, curator's chamber, visitors lobby, luggage space, space for chemical lab, store room, reserve collection room, separate toilets for gents and ladies, canteen facility, auditorium or conference hall, reading room, ramp, and wheelchairs for differently abled visitors. Space for lift for the senior persons and physically informed visitors, information kiosk and TV in the reception counter. Museum plan and brief history of the exhibited object should be also exhibited in the visitors lobby. Exhibits. The objects so collected from various sources like exploration, excavation, acquisition, donation or gift may be documented in the accession register and their photos may be preserved in the photo album. The accession register may be digitized. Index card and catalog card may be prepared for each individual object for security reasons and easy approach to the research scholars. Each exhibit should have a bilingual or trilingual printed label showing its name, period, its accession number, etc. There should be a brief note about the displayed objects at the entry of each gallery. The stone objects should be displayed only on wooden pedestals, veneered with plywood, covered with light-colored sunmica or formica. The masonry pedestals may affect the life of the stone objects. The size of the pedestal depends on the size of the object. The universally accepted principle is that the center of the exhibit should be of eye level of an average man. It should be strictly ensured. Heavy objects may be displayed in the ground floor and light objects in the first floor. Then we come to the tourist facilities. Visitors may be allowed in the museum only after purchasing the entry ticket. Their luggage may be safely placed in the luggage racks at the information counter against a token. A TV, sufficient chairs, seats, brief history of the museum and the exhibits, touch screen kiosk containing brief details about the local monuments or about the contents of each gallery should be placed in the visitors lobby. Filtered drinking water, drinking cold water, separate toilet blocks for male and female visitors, wheelchairs for physically challenged and senior citizen, etc. Direction boards may be provided at each vintage point of the building. The visitor may be checked with the door frame metal detector for security reasons. Fire extinguishers may be placed in all the galleries and rooms. Canteen facility may be provided with snacks, tea or coffee and soft drinks to the visitors. Newspapers may be kept on a table in the visitors lobby for the visitors. Auditorium. In the auditorium, an auditorium may be provided in the museum for conducting seminars and meetings of the museum committees. Cultural programs also can be had in the well-seated hall and dais should be higher than the seats. Publications. colored picture postcards of important exhibits and local monuments, guidebook and handouts in 3 languages may be made available for sale to the visitors in the information counter. Then we come to the last point, security arrangements. A cloakroom may be provided at the information counter for keeping the luggage against tokens of the visitors. Wall clocks may be provided at the information counter, and electronic alarm or siren may be provided at the time of opening and also at the time of closing of the museum. CCTV may be installed in all the galleries, and the main TV screen should be installed in the curator's room for watching the tourist movements in the galleries. Lightning conductor may be installed in the museum building for arresting lightning effect. The gallery staff may be supplied with uniform with the name plate for easy identification. The main door and the galleries may be sealed daily. The staff should be provided with walkie-talkie sets for contacting and alerting the tourists and the curator at the time of emergency. Glass showcases may be locked with modern locking equipment. The staff should be guided to politely behave with the tourists. Each gallery should have a gallery attendant or gallery assistant who will be responsible for the safety and security of the museum objects and the glass showcases. Sanitary staff should be asked to clean the toilets frequently to avoid bad smell in the galleries. Plastic drums may be placed at vintage places by using them as dustbins. The museum galleries should be kept neat and tidy throughout the day. Vehicle parking, canteen, shop may be put to auction every year. The booking counter, colored picture postcards, canteen, shop, auditorium, and guidebooks can generate more funds to the museum for its day-to-day maintenance and self-sustenance. Then we come to the conclusion. As can be seen from the above, organizing and maintaining a museum involves several issues. The curator or head of a museum should be a professional, receive and guide the VIPs, and act as the bridge between the management and the visitors. He should always focus on the further development of the museum galleries to attract more and more visitors to the museum. When the visitors pay money for entering the museum, they naturally expect minimum facilities like drinking water, toilet facilities, comfortable seating arrangements in the museum. Curator should have integrity, dedication, punctuality, and discipline, which reflects on the museum maintenance. At the end, I am thankful to the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Mizoram University for giving me an opportunity to speak few words about the museum to all of you. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir. Indeed, very exhaustive, very detailed presentation. So it's very, really informative. With our active support from our Honorable Vice Chancellor, I think all those requirements for setting up a museum we will definitely have in our university in the near future. It was really, really wonderful, detailed, precise, and very, very detailed information that you had given us. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Any from the participants, if you have any question, please just type in Q&A box. Yeah. Sir, actually, we have a very, as I had mentioned in the beginning, a very small museum in our Department of History and Ethnography, which we want to very much develop. So I think for this purpose, it would be really, really nice if you can help us.
Oh, definitely, sir. Definitely, I will come.
You please help us to develop our small museum into a larger museum, which would attract not only academic fraternity, but also the wider public of Mizoram and also from the tourists in the near future. Because Mizoram University is very big university, very huge. I think we have the potential to develop, and our Honorable Vice Chancellor is very much supportive. He is always pushing us to watch development of museum, heritage centers, and other things. So I think there is a very good scope for development of museum in our very own university. You can really help us, sir, with your vast knowledge. See, in the beginning you have mentioned your experiences. For an individual person to have such kind of magnitude experience, big experience, it's really wonderful. You can really help us, sir.
Sir, I am 82 now.
Yeah, but you don't look like 82, sir. You are very young. You look very energetic. Uh, I'm sure you will still be able to contribute for development of museum in our state and university, sir. You
Yeah,
don't
sure, sir.
look.
Sure, sir. Sir, with the help of
Yeah.
Dr. P.K. Mishraji, you can have a good museum in your university, sir.
Yes, sir. That's true. That's true, sir. Sir, our honorable vice chancellor can come in, sir, for this purpose to give comments, remarks.
Thank you, Rao Garu, for giving a wonderful explanation about a museum, how to be started and how to be funded. But Mizoram is a different style of museums which you worked earlier in different museums. They are actually very old and ancient architectures. But in Mizoram, we don't have that much ancient monuments here. We are still to get so many things from Mizoram history. We are trying our best to get some items from different villages, traditional items, and we are trying to cultural heritage museum. We are planning in our Mizoram University, and hope historic monuments may not be immediately available for us, but cultural heritage things we are planning in our Mizoram, and we may get very soon those things. Thank you.
Sure, sir. Sir, the concept of the museum is changed, sir, now. The people are not interested only to see the sculptures, stone sculptures or inscriptions. So now we have to show the visitors the recently about 50, 100 years back used materials also, day-to-day materials to the this present generation, sir. We can collect from different villages. We are doing here also. So many people have given a lot of donations to the museum, and we are still collecting from different villages, throwing light on the culture of about 100 years ago.
We have already given public notice, public request for Mizoram people to spare the various things which are there in their houses to our Mizoram University. And we are planning to get those things very soon. If those things are coming, we wanted to develop one museum here, and also we are planning to develop one cultural heritage center in the campus. And the traditional houses, traditional huts, and those things actually we are planning here. It's not just like a museum, but it is like a cultural heritage center we are planning. So we hope it can be developed very soon.
Thank you, sir. Sir, just I want to show one museum which I have organized at Bagalkot in Karnataka. You can see that.
Please show that.
Yeah.
Sir, actually, this museum building has been constructed in a place called as Bagalkot district headquarters. Perhaps you are aware of Almaty Dam on River Krishna. One dam was constructed in Karnataka at place Almaty, and about 200 villages have been submerged in this backwaters of the dam. So we have collected all the objects from different villages and established a museum at Bagalkot, which is above the submergence level. The Shaiva, Vaishnava and Jaina galleries of archaeological objects I have constructed, I have prepared, whereas the village life, cultural life has been prepared by my friend Solbakanwar, a great artist of Karnataka. And now this place has become a tourist spot, sir. It is attracting hundreds of tourists daily. It is in the center of Bagalkot town now.
Very nice,
Hello?
sir. Thank you so much. Sir, we have some few questions.
Hello?
If you can kindly take some few questions. Hello?
Hello?
Hello? Hello, can you hear me, sir? Can you hear me, sir?
Hello?
Hello?
Not
Can you
hearing.
hear me, sir?
Hello?
Can you hear me, sir?
He is not hearing, it seems. He's yes.
Hello?
Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, sir. So we have some few questions, sir.
Hello?
Hello? Yes, sir. Hello?
Sir, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, sir, I can hear you. Can you hear me, sir?
Sound this one maximum.
Hello? 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 Can you hear me, sir? Hello? We have some few questions, sir. If you can please take some few questions.
Otherwise, you can ask those questions to Mishra ji.
Hello?
I think, Robin, you can ask those questions to Dr. Mishra ji.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please, sir. First question. How do museums help in creating identity at various levels? How do museums help in creating identity at various levels? Local, national, regional? Asked by Rajiv Kumar. Hello?
Hello, sir. Hello.
Hello?
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, sir.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, this is the museum. I have
Please
set
take
up.
this, answer these questions posed by.
Yeah, please, please.
How do museums help? How do museums help in creating identity at various levels? Local, national, regional? Asked by Rajiv Kumar.
Yeah. Yeah, objects of the national importance are of the national, they are exhibited in the national museums, sir, or major museums. Objects of local importance, they are in the local museums. Actually, what exactly you wanted to know, let me know, sir.
Actually, how do museums help in showcasing identity, culture, etc.? How does museum development of how does a particular museum, for example, if a museum is developed in a particular area, how does that museum showcase particular identity of that particular area?
Yeah, museum is the
People of that
repository.
area. How did the museum help?
Yes, sir. Museum is the repository of the culture of the local. So the objects exhibited in the museum, they throw light, they reflect the local culture only.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Very true. Very true. Museum is the larger, can be the larger expression of a particular community, showcasing their culture, identity, history. That's very true, sir. Thank you, sir. Another question is, museology course take how much time?
Museum, now the School of Archaeology or Institute of Archaeology is running a 2 years course in Delhi, sir, by ASI. Hello.
Okay.
Sir,
Okay, thank you, sir.
There is one entrance test. After passing the entrance test, they are given 2 years training in all aspects of archaeology, sir.
Okay, okay, sir. One more question. Is there a common procedure, technique for accession of museum objects?
Yeah, there is specified rules or
Is there
procedure is, sir, accession register, it contains all the details about the objects. Prescribed rules are there, prescribed procedure is there for preparing the accession register, or how to access, or how to index, or how to take photo albums, sir. Sir, may I request Dr. P.K. Misraji?
One more question, sir. Do you think?
Yes, sir, please.
Hello?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Yes. Do you think the new museum theory could be applied in India?
Yes, sir. Now, all these years we have been focusing only on the archaeological museums. Now the concept is changed. People are not interested to see only the stone sculptures or inscribed slabs. So they want to know the recent culture of the country also. The concept is changed now. We should not limit only to the archaeological museums now.
Okay.
So in this connection, may I request Dr. P.K. Misraji
Okay.
to throw some
So
more
now,
light on the...
okay. Okay. Yeah, Dr. P.K. Misra, can you please come in? Dr. P.K. Misra,
Sir, you have to unmute.
can you please come in?
Sir, I had the great privilege to work under the dynamic leadership of his father, late father, sir. In Bangalore Circle,
Oh, I see. So you have indeed a very close connection.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So Dr.
So
P.K. Misra.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
we can hear.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. It's a very valid question which someone has asked. Actually, now the whole concept of museum, what it was earlier 20 years back, is changed all over the world. If you go to UK, if you go to US and other countries, you will find that museum is not only containing any archaeology or any individual only one science. It contains so many things. It contains so many technical developments, ancient, modern, medieval. So that makes, very interesting to the visitors to know more and more details of what is going on in the world and what was the past world. So archaeological museum also needs that kind of museum. Not it should be only the artifacts, objects, that won't be very interesting to the museum visitors. Very few scholars would like to know that. But others who are coming to museum to see, gain knowledge, for them it won't be very much interesting. So there should be a very broad museum now. It should contain all aspects of life, all aspects of the society, all technological developments, scientific developments, the latest works which world is doing. That is required with the archaeological museums.
One more question is there any ancient kingdoms in earlier in Mizoram? Now, This particular question, I think I'll try to answer. Is there any ancient kingdoms earlier in Mizoram? So far, we don't have any records of ancient kingdoms in Mizoram, but the recent excavation and findings of Wangchia, culture, I think if further study may throw a lot of lights on the history of early history of Mizoram. So as of now, it is not yet possible to know whether ancient kingdom exists in Mizoram or not. One more question, sir.
We have
Sir P.K. Mishra
Champai.
can answer.
We have Champai sites. I think you know Champai site.
That's true.
That is
Yeah, Wangchia.
Yeah. It is dated, and excavation has been done there, and it is dated first century AD. First century AD. So I think that is the earliest site you have. In that site, we have many manhis, and we have many microliths, which is about small in that sites, and that is a protected monument now. And ASI is doing some work
Yes.
there. So final excavation has not been completed. I
So
hope
that's
after
true,
the
sir.
final excavation, we will get more informations about the Mizoram ancient site.
Yeah. Right. Uh, so further study would throw light on the early history of Mizoram. That particular Champai area, Wangchia area.
Yeah, Wangchia area, and the village Champai.
Yes. Wangchia is in the vicinity of Champai, very close to Champai. It is in the same belt, same area. So that Wangchia excavation would throw light on the early history of Mizoram.
Exactly.
In due course.
It is the lost civilization of Mizoram. It is the lost civilization of Mizoram, and that excavation is giving us much more information about Mizoram.
Right. One question is it possible to exhibit material objects belonging to different cultural periods made up of different raw materials in one small single room? If possible, how can all the objects be exhibited distinctly? Sir,
It is possible
tell us,
to exhibit objects of different periods in different showcases in the same room.
All right. Very nice.
Rao Saab has been a great expert in this, At Goa, the Goa Museum is all established by him. And it has not got much area, but in that small area, every civilization has been depicted in that Goa Museum. So I think we have very few experts all over the country, and one of the main expert is Rao Saab, K.V. Rao Saab. So
that's right. Wonderful. Can we increase the importance of museum in society because only few people are interested in it?
Yes, it is possible, sir. It is possible to exhibit different varieties of life of the human in the museum so that we can attract more and more people.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir. Can you tell us the best book on archaeology?
There is a best book in archaeology is by Mortimer Wheeler, Digging the Past. It is one of the earliest book written by Mortimer Wheeler, Digging the Past.
Digging the Past. Thank you, sir.
Sir, Alpin and Bridget book also useful, sir.
This is also very important.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Mortimer Wheeler. Let me type to the person, Wheeler. Digging the Past.
Digging the Past.
Yes, sir. Yeah. One more question. To what extent museums able to earn their annual budget from visitors and sponsors apart from government funding?
Sir, maintaining a museum itself is a very expensive issue, sir. Whatever we get through the entrance tickets or publications is not enough for maintaining the museum. Maintenance of museum is possible only by the ministry, either whether state government or central government. Even universities also cannot afford to maintain a museum, sir, unless they receive funds from the Ministry of Culture, Government of India.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Those are the questions that was posted, sir. Yeah, very interesting. Both the lectures, the first lecture as well as the second lecture, was extremely important and very uh, informative to us. It has really enriched and enlightened our existing knowledge on prehistoric cultures as well as on museums and on archaeology and its connecting subjects. Very wonderful. Uh, I will request our Vice Chancellor if he can make some concluding remarks. Sir? Yes.
I'm not a competent man in this subject. No, you are asking me.
Yes, sir.
again and
No,
again.
no, just concluding remarks, sir.
It was,
as we come towards the end of the.
It was actually museums and the ancient prehistory cultures are actually those general knowledge things to everyone. But there is a systematic study requirement is there. And that expertise is not with me, but I know. But the importance of history has to be protected forever in the any area or any state or any religion. That they should protect their history and culture forever for generations to come, because the generations actually will not understand what is the culture of our ancient people, our mythological people. So after 100 years or 200 years, how Mizoram people, they may not know what is the culture which has been practiced in Mizoram. And also what is the culture which is followed 200 years back when British has ruled India. What is the culture of Mizo population is not well known to many people. Though there are several informations are available, but still it is not been protected, and the younger generation are not able to understand what is the culture of Mizos when the British has ruled the country. And after that, what is the kind of transformation they had, and what is the kind of the living habits and culture they inculcated, and what modernization they has inculcated also not been known to many people. This is what actually all our emphasis, particularly history department, has to give emphasis towards protecting this culture and also prehistoric culture and also the present day culture also to the future generations. This is most important. I've been trying and we applied for 3-4 projects to Minister of Culture, but we could not get succeed in getting the project sanctioned. But we keep on trying, whether I am there or not in the university. The history department has to keep on trying. Keep on trying for several projects to apply. If more projects are applied, you will get 1 or 2 projects. So some funding, if it comes, it will be very good for Mizo culture. We will try to exploit this particular tradition to the future generations. This is what my ambition and also feeling that our Mizoram University should play a very active role in this particular one. With this few remarks, I thank
very true, sir.
Professor P.K. Mishra ji and Sri K.V. Rao ji for giving excellent inputs of their experience and long experience, cherished experience in Northeast India, whole India. They have given very good experience, and always we are grateful, and we will be approaching you for any kind of help it is required for our university, sir. Thank you.
Sure, sir. Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. Great to have you. Now you have been connected with us, so in the near future also we will communicate, and especially for setting up a museum in our department, we will contact Sir K.V. Rao and also, of course, P.K. Mishra. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you, sir.